If the fence rests, let's lay it down. Gonna dig deep, wave that verdict round. The defense rests, time to analyze. With the evidence, we'll unveil the crime. Justice served in an honest fight. True crime tales till the verdict's right. Solving more than just trivial quests, where sentences rule at the defense rests.
We're back! Yay! We made it through Christmas. Yet again. Thank goodness. Oh, it's done for another year. I hope you all had an amazing Chrissy with your family and loved ones, and the cleanup fairy visited you immediately to clean up all the wrapping, and we're ready to get back into some more defense rests. I've missed you all. Now, hello, Clumsy. You decide to come in now, do you? Hello, Puss. Of course. Housekeeping to start with. Welcome, welcome. Oh, congratulations to Laura Dad, who received my gift of a membership today. Congratulations. We also have two very, very talented members of our beautiful family, namely Uda Hef and Tanya, who have created their own YouTube channels. I believe that Uda Hef's is just up and running now, and Tanya will be debuting hers in the coming week, because we are doing the Lindy Chamberlain presentation together. So that will be her cherry popping case, so to speak. Where is everyone? Can you all hear me? I feel like I'm echoing in my head. I don't know if I like this new audio or not. I'm going to have to play around with it. Anywho, so the links for the two channels are, oh dear, okay, change the font on there and it changes it on, right, need to fix that. Hello, hello. Thank you very much for subbing. I'm going to have to change that font. That's crap. Excellent. Welcome, welcome. Well, we've had two more sales, and I'm going to put an order in myself as well. So I will share this with you to give you an update on what's happening. So we're currently at 10 items sold, and a profit of $45.42. So that's where we're at the moment with the fundraiser. So I will be putting in an order the next day or two myself. Some merch, because I can. So that's that one. What else have I got? Yes, I've missed you all. Okay, I'm going to have to change that font. Sorry. It's really annoying the crapola out of me. I thought it looked cute on the logo. Didn't realise it went all the way through to all the messages and everything. StreamYard have updated a heap of stuff, so I had a bit of play before. Is that better? A bit easier to read? It's better. All right. So you can all hear me properly? All right, what's next? Done the fundraiser. Just, yeah, I just wanted to do a quick tribute to Jeff and Michael. Jeff from Legal Vices, as you all know, passed away before Christmas, suddenly, in Seoul, of a suspected heart attack, I think, or something to that effect. I haven't heard any more, but it's not because I'm not interested. It's because I was in the Bermuda Triangle of internet zones up at my mum's, and my signal was crap, absolute crap. So I will never ever curse my cable provider ever again. And Michael Rivers, which is Bruce Rivers' son, only 24, apparently on the 17th of November, I believe, passed away. The rumour mill has it as an opiate poisoning. What weight you give that is, I have not researched it. It was just probably 10 hand to me. Okie dokie. So, January calendar. Tanya and I sat here for hours last night going through a heap of stuff, planning, plotting, meddling, the works. All right, so what have we got on the cards for you? Okay. All right, so this week I've sort of got 5 days to play with. I'm not sure whether I was like, excuse me, umming and ahhing last night whether or not to start a new trial. I've got one sitting there ready. Or to use this week as a bit of a lead up and lead into the podcast, which is focused on the death penalty. Now, it's not by any means a political platform or statement for or against it. It is purely an educational resource and, information on the processes and the mandatory processes, the legal implications, the law that's applied to it, how it's evolved over time, that type of thing. So it's an educational tool. And it is, from what I've been listening to and reading, it is extremely interesting. And there's so many aspects to it that you'd never even think of. You're like, oh. So we have a special guest, Steve Gosney, who is a well-renowned criminal defense attorney in Florida, board certified, and I think they call him a capital practitioner because he is an appellate lawyer, I believe, down there as well for the death penalty. He's had lots of experience and has written 3 books on the death penalty, and they are a trilogy based around the different aspects of the death penalty itself, but also as a tool for training appellate lawyers about the death penalty in Florida. And whilst it's based on Florida statute, the actual legislation itself is federal, so it's universal. So each state does have its own mandated terms, so to speak, but the legislation itself is federal. Right. So if I'll see how tonight goes. I decided tonight we're just going to do some different perspectives, because we've approached the death penalty on a legal basis, or we will be on Saturday. And I thought it might be nice to have a different perspective. So a perspective from, the knock-on effect of someone being executed is unbelievable. It's yeah. I couldn't do it. But I'm talking about the actual execution of themselves, the victims' families, the staff at the correctional facilities, and it goes on. The doctor administering, So yes, I thought we would do a little bit more on the other side of the coin, so to speak. So I've got a couple of things lined up. The first one is just a very short film, and it's quite powerful, and it's basically an inmate and a guard, the relationship between an inmate and a guard on death row in the final hours, so to speak. It's only 15 minutes long, but it's very well done. And then I have one that is basically I've got a few to choose from, so we'll play that one by ear when we get to it. All right, so that's what we're doing today. I may start a death penalty trial on Monday. I'll see how we go. I'll see what you would like to do, whether you'd like to investigate this a little bit further or start a new trial. Podcast Saturday. Put it in your diaries. Then the following week will be the launch of Tanya's channel and Lindsay Chamberlain, as promised. There isn't a great deal of trial footage, so it will be like a presentation-y type of thing, with the details, newspaper articles, photos, news reports, all that sort of stuff. And we thought we might actually incorporate the actual film with Meryl Streep into it as well. So there's that. Right, next. As you're going through this stuff, just if you have any questions, jot them down, because Steve is like, he's like, how do I explain it? Not the professor. He's like the expert on everything death penalty, basically. And he actually went through a lot of the motions in the Brian Koberger case, and why they had to make them, and why the trial judge had to deny them all. It's all, anyway, we'll get to that. Let's not jump ahead. All right. So, favourite present from Santa? Anyone? Anyone? Was Santa good? Nobody's talking today. Oh, happy birthday for the 17th. You must be an Aquarian. All right, let's jump into this. It's called Prison Drama, The Row. Right. I'm not going to put CCs. Good morning, sir. Happy holidays. Happy Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Yay. How are you, Bri? Good to see you. You've just been working way too hard, haven't you? Did you have Christmas Day off? Was Santa good? Oh, yeah. I hope you didn't have to work too hard. I remember doing split shifts. Excellent. Excellent. Good to hear. Christmas. Merry Christmas. You dag. Oh, first day back. All right, come on. Oh, and I have a new goal. You need to do the talk to text, although mine never works. Ends up being something completely different. I'm glad you had a good Christmas. That's fantastic. We didn't see you a little bit in the lead up to Christmas, which is not unusual because everyone's absolutely flat out. And I've just gotten back from sunny Queensland, visiting my mum. Got back last night, so back into it today. All right. So I'm not sure if you saw or heard, Bri, I have a special guest on the podcast this Saturday. His name's Steve Gosney. He does have a YouTube channel. I will pop that in chat now if you guys want to check it out. He is, I think that's it. If not, add an end to it for Stephen. He is a well-renowned criminal defence attorney in Florida and board-certified appellate lawyer as well for the death penalty. Has written multiple books on it and is coming to discuss it with us on Saturday. Give us a good overview on its evolution and history, as well as its policies and procedures, and then its application in the law. So it should be awesome. So I've done a lead into that for this week. We're just going to try and focus on different perspectives of how the death penalty affects others, not just the legal system. All right, let's do it. Let's get into it, shall we? High def, full screen, to present. Share. Not graphic content, but sensitive topic, I suppose. Should put a. Saw him. Oh, you would have seen him on. He was on Nick Starrow with me and Excited Utterance and Legal Vices. The Friday before. In fact, it was. I think I might be a bad omen because I was on the panel with Nick Starrow, and Legal Vices was there, and he actually had to leave early because his taxi arrived to take him to the airport to go to Seoul, and that was his last live stream. So, but Steve was on there then, and he is frequently on Nick's. I don't think Justice Process has guests. I don't believe. Baker maybe, or Runkle. Definitely right up Runkle's alley. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he's on with Nick Starrow and that genre of law nerds, just so to speak. He is a very intelligent man. He's very interesting. Having a look at some of his stuff on his channel, and he has a website. as well. Okay. Let's not blow smoke up and get this going. Tell me if you can. Oh, look at that. Beautiful picture. I love cable internet.
Okay, relax. All right, fellas, knock it out. Sorry.
Took you so long? I don't have all night.
It took longer than expected.
You're off your game, boy. Some of the guys were saying it was. Is that true what they say? Will I mess myself?
Don't go listen to those guys.
I don't want to be embarrassed or anything.
I got some business to take care of.
Wait a minute. Give it to me straight, Mr. B.
Some do. Some don't.
I want to know about it.
I don't have the time right now, Dad.
God damn it, I don't want to know. I have no time.
Stop. Whoa. It's all right, Billy. It's all right.
Look, Mr. B, you're a military man, too. You know it helps me to understand what I'm facing in that. I don't want to die afraid.
The first drug makes you unconscious in a matter of seconds. The second paralyzes you. The third stops your heart.
Does anyone, just out of interest, does anyone know why it's midnight? Why they chose midnight? It's one of the questions I've got for Saturday, but I thought maybe Brian might, he's cleverer. He might know why.
Chaplain, can we pray before we go?
Of course. Of course.
Oh, okay.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy
There you
name.
go.
Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever.
Forever and ever. Hallelujah.
Can you imagine this guy as a, hey Chad, you going sweetness? As a health provider and, you know, a potential lifesaver. How do you get past doing something like this? You know, put yourself in the warden's position. I don't understand. I know it's their job. I don't know how they deal with it in their own heads, if you know what I mean. That it would be so freaking hard. Sin is made based. Okay. Apparently, yes. Apparently, you can have a choice of method. Apparently, there is the option of the firing squad still. Apparently, where there are six volunteers, and 5 of them have live rounds, and 1 of them has a blank, and you don't know which one is which. But yeah, apparently that's an option somewhere still. Hmm. That would be the longest walk ever. Yeah. Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. Welcome, Kirsty one. I'm waiting for your next installment. The next film that I have ready set to go is more along the lines of the perspective of the executioner and the victims' families, and how they pretty much say that, well, they question, is it justice by taking a life? Is that justice being served? They didn't feel any better or any worse after, you know. Interesting. There's a lot of different angles, but I'll let you finish typing.
Yes.
This will be the final appeal.
Thank you, Governor. Do you have any last words? Do you have any final words, Daryl?
For your ears
It is, yeah. Or maybe we could watch that this week together. And how many people have to be present? Does there have to be the warden and the doctor, a witness? See, this is portraying it at midnight as well. It is a great movie. It is a great movie. This isn't a real one, Tan. The sternal rub. That was the question that he asked the governor. No. Mm-mm.
I need somebody to talk to.
I haven't heard from God in a long time. So you just be talking to the man and not the man of God. Now the truth be told, Warden, I don't think I'd be much help to you tonight.
path of the nation's 104th Congress, Republican Phil Gramm interpreting what he feels is the cause of recent voter frustration.
I believe the message of this election is very clear. It had partisan overtones, but the message was basically nonpartisan. I think the voters said, stop the taxing, stop the spending, stop the regulating, stop the
Warden.
Hmm. There you go. So yeah, I just thought there is always more than one side to every story. And whilst we might deal with it in a legal aspect on a regular basis, there is far more to it than just that. Against the DP, because James the family of the victims. Yeah, 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 yep. That's one of the things that Steve will be discussing on Saturday. There is mandatory procedures that, or mandated legislation that they must follow because it's maximum due process. There is no undoing it. So basically, they are mandated to, even if the victim wants the death penalty, that they accept it, they want it, they request it, they are mandated to have it appealed. And as you know, there's the two parts to the trial. There's the guilt phase, and then the penalty phase. And once the guilt phase has been established, basically, penalty phase is the jury deciding between life or death, pretty much. But the steps to get past, like once that's been established, the steps from there on are hideous. Like the average person waiting on death row is 10 years. The longest person was 42 years, I believe, or 46. It's horrific. Like what they actually have to do to dot all the I's and cross all the T's it's phenomenal. And the way Steve explains it, it makes you look at it in a different light. Yeah. And does it really deter? Does it really create justice? Does it, Yeah, yep. That's why there is such it's called maximum due process, because there is no undoing it once it's done. Yep. Oh, Oh, that's awful, Kirsty. Wow. I think Teresia's in Texas, aren't you, sweetheart? Oh, that's awful. Yes, yes, it is. Way more expensive. Yeah, it's nothing here. I think in Florida, life without parole is no possibility of parole. I'm not sure what Texas is, but generally it differs apparently. Oh, Cindy, that's right. Cindy's in Texas. Sorry. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Is it something that you feel that you would want to get up and express? Because you're welcome to. Yeah, we do. Yeah. No worries, sweetheart. We'll be covering this topic pretty much all week leading into the podcast on Saturday. And it actually might be a good chance for you to, if you've got any lingering questions or, why did it take so long? Why did he get so many appeals? Why? Steve is a good one to ask. He is not arrogant or opinionated. He's very level-headed and easy to speak with. So, yeah. There's in the legislation, apparently the defence, when you get into the penalty phase, there's the defence puts in their aggravating factors and the state puts in their mitigating. Now, apparently the aggregating factors are absolutely limitless, completely limitless. You can put in as many as you want. And each of them has to be addressed. And that's why the Brian Kohberger, they had to submit all of those motions because each one of them addressed a different aggregating factor for that state, and they had to put it on the record for the appeal process. But even though the trial judge doesn't have the jurisdiction to grant any motions, he has to legally deny them all, but they're preserved on the record. So it's absolutely no problem. I'm in the process of doing the thumbnail now. I'm just waiting on. I've done a little promo of the content for the podcast, and because Steve is also an author of 3 books on the death penalty, I've just sent him a draft copy of it to get his consent on the details. Basically, I don't want to put any false or misleading information out. Once he's confirmed that and given me his consent, I'll be putting up the promo and the thumbnail. So, but it is this Saturday. The thumbnail will be on this channel, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the podcast is called here. There we go. It's called For the Record. But it will definitely be. Look for that logo. Actually, where is my... This is what the thumbnail will look like, so to speak. Where did that go? Oh. Yeah, it'll be similar to that. Hello, Mr. Unahan. Hello. Good morning. Welcome, welcome. Oh, you're chucking a sickie. Good eye. Good eye. That's a it's a very Australian thing to do, chucking a sickie. Ah. All right. Now the next one I've got is called The Death Bringer. And it's like a documentary about the experience of the executioner and victims' families and stuff. But I do have quite a bit of other stuff, what I found in the meantime. So let me see. I might have something. What's that? All right. You know what? I think we're going to watch this one. All right. This is a Freedom Tube production, and oh dear, only 480p. Sorry, that's shit. All right. If it's not any good, we'll go back to the other one, but let's have a look. Excuse me. Yes, you have a couple of subs. Here we go. You missed the intro. So like and sub, share the love. Your link is in chat. Actually, it's pinned to the top of chat. Oh, get out of there. It is, isn't it? All right. Stop procrastinating, Jody. Let's do it. Really? You don't have to thank me. Yes, yes, yes. Tan and I are doing a collaboration on Lindsay Chamberlain. That's going to be her debut case next week. So that's a good Aussie crime story. Fair income. Oh, this looks like it's in Mississippi, is it? Yeah. Oh, shit. Sharing the wrong tab. Well, yeah. It's the first day back, all right? And I just realised that the video's best picture is 480p. So it's not me, sorry. Do you know we were founded on criminals, basically? Australia was founded that way. Convict settlements. We're all in the naughty chair. On the naughty list. Now, I haven't seen this, so don't know what's on it, but
Johnson's attorneys and the American Civil Liberties Union say they've got a strategy to save the inmate from execution on the 20th of May. Johnson's attorneys and the American Civil Liberties Union say they've got a strategy to save.
If you need to talk back to me,
I think it's like this that
go to hell. Now get this new grind. Thank you, boss.
in the deep south, maybe. Just guessing.
Tell me what squad this is. What we like to do. And what we gonna do. All right, what are we? That's what I'm talking about.
That's awful. Just awful. Does that make you a mongrel? Oh dear. So are you allowed to name the okay, which one? Which one, Uda Hef? Which would you like me to explain? Tanya or Kirsty one? This is a documentary that I found. I haven't seen it, but it's about death row for educational purposes, to show the public the harsh realities of what capital punishment really means, and how they can get it wrong. You'll have a fly on the wall view of a condemned man, Edward L. Johnson, and his lawyer. Oh, okay. All right, this might have a little bit of graphic content. Brace yourself to go on an extremely emotional journey. Okay. I don't like it. Please explain. All right, Tanya. she'll have to explain that one. And Kirsty one was poor bugger. I'll see if I can find her previous her husband. Oh. Where is it? Yeah, here. Her fiance, sorry, was on death row for 32 years, killed in the line of duty, and the killer was on death row and was put to death last year. So, yeah, just awful. Yeah, yeah. Okay. If anyone really finds this too difficult to watch, I'll happily turn it off. Yes, it's awful. But as I said, Kirsty one, if you want at any time to talk about it, please reach out. You are more than welcome. It's a safe space here. Everyone in chat will tell you that. So if you need to get stuff off your chest, knock yourself out.
Get on back. Get it clean this time. Ain't nothing but a game.
Mississippi.
This film is about the death penalty in the state of Mississippi and the effect it has on the staff and inmates as time runs out for one 26-year-old man, Edward Earl Johnson. Johnson has been appealing against his sentence for 8 years in the United States courts. He was convicted in 1979 of killing a Mississippi town marshal and the attempted rape of a 60-year-old woman. He has spent the last 8 years on this death row and has always professed his innocence.
Yep.
I say we'll meet next Friday. The only thing that might cancel that is if he receives a stay of execution between now and then. So at this point in time, the Attorney General's office still feels very much like the execution will be a go. All of y'all know, that could change right up to midnight, the 20th. I got one last thing to say, and then I'm going to try to start getting ready to get out of here. I will not tolerate one off-color remark by anybody on this staff about the execution. And just because I don't have to look forward to doing my job in this kind of situation doesn't mean that I can't be tolerant.
Sometimes you have to be a little crazy to deal with all this shit. Sometimes you need to bring some light into the dark. So, yes, we do get a bit crazy. And I do drop the odd F-bomb. I've been known, apparently.
Of others who...
and I've been known to do this as well. In the middle of a stream. Yep, that was me. And the funny thing is, they all watched. They continued to watch and let me snore. So funny. I woke up an hour after the stream had finished.
Perhaps look forward a little more eagerly to doing it, but they can look forward to it and still do it in a professional manner. And I assure you, I've never been more serious about a threat that I've made since I've been here. If I hear anything that I don't like from staff of this institution, they are going to answer to me directly and personally. I'm sure I'll be stuck with an action later, but the personnel department will have to clean it up, and that's a promise. I'll get rid of them.
Now 10.
This boy's family did not murder this police officer. This boy's family did not ask for their son to be in this situation. They didn't raise him to be in this predicament. And I've done some checking and looking into records and stuff as a matter of curiosity. And this guy isn't from some family of bozos, you know. This guy represents a situation that could happen to anybody. You know, you got some heartbroken parents that spent 7 years trying to figure out what the hell went wrong. We don't execute rapists and armed robbers anymore. And so when we do execute people, we execute people that situationally anybody could find themselves in the same shoes. You get a bad mixture of booze and bad character, or dope and booze and poor judgment, and my son, your daughter could end up on death row, and by God, that doesn't make me bad. That does not make me bad as a parent, and that means that that family is entitled to a modicum of respect from this department and this institution. I'm going to have it. And I'll tell you why I'm so adamant about that. Because I'm concerned about some of the kind of stuff that I hear rumbling-wise about people being upset about not being involved in this, that, and other thing. It's like I said to Don Hokut and a couple of others of you last night, I worry about people who are eager to stand in line.
Yeah. You want to come up? I'll put the link in chat. For shiz. I have to create another camera spot. Hang on. Add item. Camera slot. Maybe up there. Oh. Nope. Square. Thank you. Yep. Actually, we can remove that. It's like it has big. No, we don't need to be that big. There you go. Ready whenever you are. Yeah. So what he was saying there, with all the things, like he said, we don't execute rapists, we don't execute blah, 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 but we do execute blah, 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 blah. They're all the aggregating factors. And it's those factors that, whee, boop. I heard a boop. Ta-da!
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, good to
Happy
see you. How's the
Hanukkah.
audio?
Yeah, it's fine. I can
Okay.
hear you.
There's
And everyone
somebody
else?
like using a tile saw right over there. I don't know.
No, I can hear you. I've boosted your voice.
Beautiful.
There you go.
So I would love to see if there's anyone that can defend the concept of the death penalty, because I don't get it. I mean, for me, I'm a very pragmatic person. I think that our justice system is imperfect, and that's why we can't have a perfected sentence. Life in prison is something that can always be remediated, but when you put someone to death,
done.
Yeah, what are you going to do? 3% of people on death row are innocent, according to a study that was done by the Cato Institute. The death penalty, it costs between 10 and 100 times more
than life without parole.
Yeah. the only way to alleviate the cost of the death penalty is to basically eliminate the Constitution.
Well, the issue with it is that with all the aggravating factors, the more factors that they have, the more it becomes arbitrary and then therefore unconstitutional.
Right.
So it's like this rolling process on how to define the difference between a life without parole sentence and a death penalty sentence, which is one of the things that is going to be on the topic of discussion on Saturday.
Okay, so Saturday is the actual stream that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah. This is a
Okay.
lead into it to give people a different perspective, not just the legal side. It's more, the other people that it affects. The workers, the wardens, the staff, the doctors, everybody. It's the family. It's not
Right.
just a one-sided legal issue. Yeah, it affects everyone.
Yeah. Oh, so we've started using a different method of execution in the United States recently, where we put you in a room and we inject a significant amount of nitrous oxide or nitrogen gas. And that
gas.
basically asphyxiates you. Yeah. Well, I don't know that it has the effect that the dentist gas gives you.
Yeah.
I think it's more so there's no oxygen in the room and you just die
Oh,
because you
so they
can't.
just put you in a room and turn that on.
Yeah, something like that. Their lethal injection is the most primary method that is used. However,
you still have the firing squad too, apparently.
yes. So with the lethal injection, the drug companies that used to produce the chemicals, they didn't want to be associated with killing people. So in America, those companies stopped allowing their chemicals to be used for lethal injection, and so we get them from a different country. I think we get them from Europe.
Of course.
And they just barely don't. I mean, it's a slow, painful death, most of the time. And you would think, all right, we sentenced the guy to death. Let's just go shoot him. But they can't do that because there's too many rules and regulations and red tape.
Yep.
Now, I know Brian Kohlberger is facing the firing squad because they just brought that back in the state that he's being tried in, which, I mean, in my opinion, that's the way to go. But
yeah.
We just can't do this properly. I mean, there's no reason for it.
With the firing squad, I heard that it was they're volunteers, apparently, and 5 have live ammunition and 1 has dummy. Right? I think that's what they said.
I'm sorry, Jay. Can you say that again?
Yeah, I was told that the firing squad there's 6 of them, and they're all volunteers, and 5 have live rounds, and 1 has a blank.
Yes, so every person can wonder whether or not they had the blank and feel like they never actually killed somebody. I mean, to me, that makes
Who
it
would
clear.
volunteer for that? Who would volunteer for that? Fuck. 6 individuals actually put their hand up to do that.
Yeah. I mean, in wartime, I guess it's more understandable. They need people to do it. But, I mean, the fact that we don't want to be the one responsible, we want to be the one with the blank, or at least tell ourselves we are. By the way, when you fire a blank, you know it's a blank. You didn't just fire a bullet. You can feel and hear the difference. So you know for a fact. But you don't have to tell anybody about that. But the fact that we don't want to do it shows that we don't want to do this as a country.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Steve, the expert that's coming on Saturday is from Florida. He's a capital practitioner as well as a board certified criminal defense attorney in Florida and an appellate lawyer, I think. Yeah, so he's in where you are, basically.
We've got a lot of death penalty cases here in Florida. It started, honestly, when I was still young. I mean, it started when Angela Corey became the state attorney, and she kind of vowed to start pursuing the death penalty more. And yeah, I've had friends
Was there any reason behind it?
Yeah, it's because a lot of people move in from other states and they already have a lot of money. They're here to buy their second and third house, and so they don't feel comfortable with the fact that there's a lot of poor people that already live here, and so they're very, very tough on crime. And they vote, and these are the people they vote in. They want to vote in. So when you are running for district attorney, you've got to be like, yeah. In fact, there was a judge who ran his campaign. I think I sent that article to you, Jody.
Yep. He was done for putting extra sentences on people because he was getting a kickback from the jail or something, wasn't he?
Well, he said during his campaign while he was running for election that he was going to go really hard on all the criminals, and like every single criminal would get the harshest sentence. And then the Supreme Court of Florida was like, nope, that's not your role. You're supposed to treat everybody individually. But, you know, because we do have elected judges and attorneys, we have a motive to be extra harsh, and so they put a lot of people to death, you know. And then our governor, Ron DeSantis, you know, after the Parkland shooter was spared his life because of 2 or 3 jurors, they changed the law to where you only need 8 out of 12 jurors to put someone to death. Which, I mean, whatever.
So they minimized it.
Yeah, they made it easier to do. But, you know, because a lot of people were outraged that Parkland shooter was not put to death.
Yeah.
But to me, the real outrage was that we had this, like, the guy already pled guilty. I mean, he was going to prison for life. And we have this whole death penalty trial, which cost millions of dollars. Just to see if we're going to put him to death. And then the families in the end are devastated because he's put to death. Whereas in another state like...
and does that serve justice?
Yeah.
Is justice served?
No. There's no justice there. And
the reason they have to do that, it's mandated. There has to be an appeal process. It's maximum due process.
Mm-hmm.
That's the legislation. They have to do it. You cannot get out of it.
But in states where they don't have the death penalty, that case or that trial would have just never happened. I mean, it's like, all right, he did it. He's in prison for life. Never have to think about him again, see him again. Hear all the mitigating factors about how he had such a hard life. I mean, like, this is ridiculous. Why are we doing this?
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, 2 or 3 jurors are like, yeah, I mean, I get the mitigating factors. Let's not.
They're endless. Apparently, the defense can put on as many aggravators as they want. As many.
Which is understandable. I mean, when you're in charge of saving somebody's life, I mean, hell, I would do anything it took, even if the guy was a piece of shit. Like,
yeah, yeah, you'd have to.
right.
And you live with yourself.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying to Bri before. You know, coming from a medical background, you have the opposite mentality. You're in the life-saving business type of thing, and I don't know how I would get my head around trying to even deal with that mentally. Like, do you know what I mean? If I was involved in the process,
yeah,
just don't know. Just don't know.
So, I mean, that's all I had to say. I just wanted to come in, throw in my 2 cents. Oh, I think there was something.
You look really, really sick. It hurt.
I am sick, actually. I've been ice skating.
You actually look like you've been in the wars. You got band-aids all over your forehead. What have you done?
Can you see this? I hit my head last night. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so I've been going ice skating like twice a week for the last like 6-7 months. And
What have you got, like a rink there?
What?
You full? You got an ice skating rink there?
So yeah, so I fell yesterday and I actually injured myself. I twisted my ankle and then my head, and so I got a Band-Aid. So that's what's going on. I know, I'm an idiot.
So is it cold down there?
Oh no. It's probably right now it's 74 degrees Fahrenheit and it's got just a light mist in the air.
We are 60 degrees Fahrenheit tonight, but we had 40 degrees Celsius yesterday. Oh, that was a killer. That was a killer.
Yes. Your climate is very similar to mine, and I think it would be great for both of us to go to Aspen for a week.
Colorado.
Feel something different.
I don't do the cold. Not very well, anyway. I did used to ice skate as a kid, though.
Sometimes I'll go into the gas station and I'll just like open the walk-in freezer and just be like, "Oh, this is what
I've got my aircon on now. I've got a fan and an air conditioner running.
All right, love. I'm gonna jump off, but I just wanted to say something for a minute.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh yeah. See you again soon.
You shall. We'll be here. See you, sweetheart. Oh, that was nice. All right, we can remove that one and make me smaller again. And add that back. There we go. It has got acquired brain injury from ice skating. Dang. I didn't actually get to read all of those stats right now. More Americans favour than oppose the death penalty, apparently. Oh, 60% adults favour people convicted of, yeah. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I don't know if on more than one occasion been involved in. Yeah. 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 Okay, that's, yeah. All right. See, the perspectives are different on every angle, and I did not even consider that. So there you go. There you go. Yeah, there is many, many facets to this. It's like opening up a can of worms. As soon as I typed it in, I'm like, Jesus. But I suppose the more people that are aware of the implications, and I don't know, we can only educate people, and hopefully somewhere down the line that might bring about change. But if you don't address it, you never learn, and nothing changes. So I know it's a difficult topic, but it's something in the true crime community that we come across constantly. So somehow, anyway, let's continue.
To methodically strap somebody into a chair and kill them.
The other thing I was actually going to ask Udhef too was like, you would know this, Bri. You know, was it phenobarbital, I think they were using for the lethal injection. I don't understand why they don't just use potassium. Simple. Just popped into my head, sorry. Hey, Cindy, good morning.
You playing me tough. I ain't kidding. That was a good move. I think I can get that one done.
Your ears burning. Hersey one is in Texas as well.
I know you don't want to do that. Yeah, I want to do that. Mm-hmm. I like it.
Yep. We weren't saying anything bad. We were just saying, because Kirsty said she was from Texas, and I thought it was actually Teresia that was in Texas, and Teresia's like, no, it was Cindy. That was all. Oh, excuse me. We're just doing a lead into a bit of background on death row and the death penalty, basically to lead up to Saturday, because there are many facets that are affected throughout this process, not just the legal system and the victim. It's it's bigger than Ben-Hur. We were trying to explain to Kirsty how horrible we are here.
All right, Bob.
Last time I was out here talking with you, I asked you whether or not, if this thing proceeds to the negative conclusion, whether you wanted any medication on the last thing. I asked you to think about that.
Yep. 10 Valium,
What do you
please.
think?
I didn't get it.
Well, I'm not going to ask you about it anymore, especially since your lawyer told you, not to converse with me. Anything else on your mind? I guess this is going to be the last time you and I talk for a while.
They set the date for me for May 20th to be executed. If I don't get no relief from my review from the United States Supreme Court, I'll be executed. Sometimes I'm depressed. I mean, all I think about, the funny thing is, I think about a future. Now that might seem kind of crazy. Now what future could I possibly have in knowing that I might supposedly be executed in the next 2 weeks? I can't plan on the future, but I think about the future. And I think about my past. The things I used to do, the people I know, the people that care about me, I think of them. I think of all that.
There's nothing wrong with a killer python either. One's for you, Tricia.
At the scene of the crime, where Johnson allegedly robbed the 60-year-old woman and killed the local town marshal, an old Buick car was seen. Because Johnson owned a Buick, he was arrested with others and put in front of an identity parade. The woman who was robbed and nearly raped had known Edward Johnson most of his life.
She saw me. She told the investigators that she knew me and know that I wasn't the one that I broke in her home. Because she told me I wasn't. She said the person who broke in was about my size, but maybe a little heavier and had a full beard. And at that time, I don't have no beard, never had one. And after that, they let me go. They picked me up again. They asked some questions. They asked me about the gun, and they kept badging about the gun. That didn't work, so they asked me would I be willing to take a lie detector test. So like I told them, I ain't did nothing. Yeah, I take it. So I freely, gave them permission. Yeah, I take a lie detector test. So that means they had to take me to Jackson. On the way to Jackson, they pulled over. They told me, "You gonna tell us something? What we want to hear? Or you ain't going." They said, "Nigga, all we have to say is that you jumped out the car and ran." And then I didn't know what to think. I'm 18 years old. I'm side of the road with nobody around to say anything in my behalf. It's on a Sunday evening late. I don't know nobody in this area. Nobody's behind me, following me, none of my relatives with me. I got a sheriff and an investigator with me. And they talking crazy, They both white and I'm black in the backseat in Mississippi there on the side of the road, and they done told me this. I don't know what to do. It was a choice of, you might say, telling them anything or go ahead and let them do what they said they were going to do. So what they did then was turn on a tape recorder, and they went over the whole incident in their own words and made me repeat that into the tape recorder.
The officers returned with Johnson to the sheriff's department. Using the tape recording made on the side of the freeway, they wrote out a confession and asked Johnson to sign it.
All I asked, what is it? I ain't signing that. I don't know what this is. He said, don't worry about what it is. Don't read it. Just sign it. So I signed it.
Why?
Well, basically, because he told me to sign it, and I was scared, I don't know. They got me by myself. Nobody knows who I'm at. You know, the last time that my relatives, anybody knew where I was supposed to be on the way to Jackson, so that's where they thought I was at.
Did you also or not?
No, I didn't.
Why
I
not?
don't remember.
Aww. Aw, thank you, sweetheart. You don't have to do that, you dad. I was just about to message Elizabeth. I think Palola's mum's probably working. No doubt. Poor bugger. It's that time of year. But yeah, Elizabeth's probably snoozing. So I'll message her on Facebook. I was going to say, but thank you. Thank you very much. It's very appreciated.
Really? I didn't know.
This is shocking. It's basically been told by the sheriffs that they're going to say one thing anyway. He's got no choice. Yeah, absolutely. And I think in states like Mississippi, way back when, Tanya and I were talking about it last night. It was abused quite a bit with the black community. So, but I can't. The more I say it, the more I'm giving the stuff away for Steve on Saturday. Yeah, we'll leave it there. I can't. He'll have nothing to talk about like it now. But yes, you need to be 200% positive before you would even consider it, and even then,
You know, I didn't know no rights. When we decided to interstate, nobody didn't read me no rights. When my lawyers tried to attack the confessions, you know, as to how it was obtained, they didn't want to hear that. All they wanted to know was, look, we got it, and that's all that counts.
Just look at Karen Reed.
He's guilty. I was guilty before I was convicted, and guilty before I even went to trial, you know? And the main part was that a white man was killed, and they have a black man accused of doing it, and they said he done it. And that was it.
And Ty Tucker as well from Florida. I don't know if you followed that one, the Treehouse murder. It's exactly like the comparisons between him and Karen Reed are phenomenal.
Took the gas mask on back there. Barry, what'd you do with the gas mask?
That was good at that pickup out there. In those bags. Don, ready for sign?
$8:31. 8:31.
8:41. Okay, we're ready.
Ready to flip, right?
I did it wrong, man. Mom. Look, I did it, man.
Last night, officer came down and he told us that they was conducting some kind of test outside for the gas chamber. I gathered that they was trying it out, you know. And, when he said that, it gripped me, you know. And, you know, they trying it out. Not only gripped me in my heart, but it gripped everybody else. Because it's the thoughts, you know. They just already assuming that they're gonna kill me. You could hear the same sounds, almost identical same smell when they execute the last man. It's just sound that smells so like almonds or cinnamon or something. If my appeals don't succeed, if they're rejected, I only have 12 days to do it. In fact, everyone here is up there. Not only me, they're thinking about themselves. At what point will they have to face this?
Do you personally believe in the death penalty?
I guess the best way to answer that is to give a qualified yes. And I don't believe in it as a deterrent to crime because statistically, I don't think you can prove or disprove whether it's really effective as a deterrent or not. I think the death penalty represents nothing more than the ultimate punishment for the most heinous crimes that society feels have to be dealt with in a final fashion. I certainly have little trouble believing in it for child killers, for people who, like this young man, murdered a police officer. I'll have to admit, 20 years ago, I felt pretty strongly opposed to the death penalty. But then I was just back from Vietnam and was just beginning a career in corrections, and I think I thought that after what I'd seen and participated in Vietnam, that there had to be a better way to do things other than killing, no matter what the purpose was. But 20 years in corrections has a way of influencing your outlook on things, and I think there has to be an ultimate penalty.
I'll take this up there. Okay, I'm gonna come on around and I'll meet you on the other side. But they'll go ahead and let you through there, and I'll come meet you on the other side. Okay? Got it. Leo.
It's supposed to be round.
I'm gonna take the handcuffs off here. I'm gonna take the handcuffs off here.
You can put them in the front, the side.
It's kind of hard for him to sit down like that. He did. It may never get to the 20th. God may intervene before the 20th ever gets here. He's Scripture talks about him working in mysterious ways, and so it may never get here. It may get here, and you may have to face it. But I know that what you're saying is that the frustration of getting up for tomorrow and then getting down again.
Getting down. But overall, just what I think, Campe. Overall, it's all in the hands of God. It's doubt clouds in at times.
Mm-hmm.
But if you put your trust and your whole heart in God, see, He erase all that doubt.
Yeah.
And give you a feeling of, you relax. You just don't have no worries. $10 to go. Now, I don't believe that really it's all sunk in yet. It couldn't have, because if it all sunk in, I'll probably be done run my head through this wall or something. You know what I'm saying? But I look at it like this. 10 days. Have I ever been this close to death before? I guess I get afraid of time. Yeah, every time I hear a door squeak, I'm up, I'm looking, I'm wondering. I heard noise banging out there by the gas chamber myself. Will they bang the door on me? I often look at it, gazing, you might say. Thinking. See, the thing about it, it's been there for the 7 years I've been here. There's nothing new to look at. There's nothing new to look at.
Right. Sorry.
I'm sort of straddling the fence as far as the death penalty is concerned. I don't know, sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. There is a playlist on my channel. Luckily, he is now out. Thank goodness. But he spent 7.5 years. They took 7.5 years of his life away. Arseholes. This is this is a documentary on the death penalty, and I'm trying to do like a lead up to Saturday because we're going to deal with the legal aspects with regard to the death penalty, but it impacts so many more areas, not just the lawyers, but the victim, but the victim's families, and the correctional staff, and yeah, the list goes on. So I just thought it'd be nice to give a well-rounded perspective on it, type of thing. He put himself out. Oh, the closed captioning is terrible anyway. Yeah, there you go, snap. Who does? Who's popping up as a friend? Oh, okay. Yeah, because you're friends with me and he's friends with me. That's why. Yes. Yeah. That's why. He's back in Portland now. Apparent lie. But yeah, as I said, there's a playlist there if you want to have a look at it. Kirsty. The last one I did was an actual interview with him when he was released. But there's so much of the story that's still got to come out with regards to the what do you call it? corruption. It's ridiculous. Curse is rebooting. Cindy, did you have a look pinned at the top of the chat? There is Udhef and Tanya have started their own YouTube channels. And I've linked their YouTube channels at the top of the chat if you want them. Udhef has a video up, I believe, and Tanya is debuting next week when we do the Nindy Chamberlain case together. That's exciting. She'll catch up.
I am and sometimes I'm not. So really I'm sort of straddling the fence. Something needs to be done for some of the crimes that's committed.
And I've messaged Elizabeth.
The death penalty is the answer. I think that if a person can't give a life, why should he be able to take it?
Yeah.
I don't know. So I got mixed feelings about it. Regardless of whether it's the gas chamber, legal injection, or the electric chair, regardless of the method, you know, it'll take a life. So really, whatever method they use doesn't really make any difference, you know, for that's concerned.
One thing common of all of us here is that we have no money. You know, we couldn't afford quality representation, the type of representation that would have made a fair trial.
I gotta turn this fan on.
It takes money to fight the state. The state has all the resources in the world when they're trying to seek a death sentence. They have all the resources at their disposal. 9 times out of 10, we're stuck with an attorney who doesn't even have a moral conviction that the death penalty is wrong. You see, and what he does is function like an assistant to the DA. You know, the attorneys that represent most poor indigents are state-appointed attorneys. You see, when you consider the economic factor, they're not the attorneys that do represent individuals in this situation at the trial level. They're not going against the state. The state pays their salary.
Statistically, in the United States at the moment, the figures show that if you're poor and black, you're more likely to end up on death row. Is that true?
In Mississippi, about 67% of the entire incarcerated population is poor, undereducated, black males. So, yes, statistically, the poor, undereducated minority is probably more likely to receive a death sentence based on the fact that they do not have funds to hire the best and the most appropriate legal assistance. The system is unjust, but the system in the fact that 63% of the people in prison or in Mississippi are minorities is just as unjust as that percentage of blacks, minorities getting a death sentence. Either way, we're talking about an unjust situation that's based on the amount of funds that you have available or the lack of funds you have. So, no, the system is not perfect.
Sure, I'm on death row, and everyone expects me to say how wrong death penalty is. But I'm saying how wrong the death penalty is because I see how wrong it is. I'm experiencing it. Society hasn't experienced it because it hasn't touched society in the emotional or in the individual sense.
Do you believe in the death penalty for some crimes?
At one point I did. At one point. But seeing how the death penalty is being applied, no, I don't.
The majority of Americans would think that a lot of people here on this death row have committed a lot of appalling crimes, murder, etc. And that you should be here. What are you saying to most people?
Nothing.
Most people only hear what authority is telling them. as I said, they're not aware of the facts. They're not aware of the person. I feel they're being misled.
Well, I've been in this situation for 11 years. Initially, I was charged with capital murder and convicted in November 1976.
How have you coped with that 11 years? It's a long time.
It's a long time. I guess my belief in God.
No.
Has
No, the documentary was made in 2020.
And I've asked myself that question before too. As a black person, as a citizen of this country, my people have always had to endure oppression and repression and of this kind. So it's part of my experience. It's in my consciousness, to cope. And I feel the same way about Earl. That I share the experience, what he's going through, I'm sharing that with him. The psychological torture that's involved, because that's what it is. Up to the point where they take him out and execute him. It's torture. We all go through this. We all going through this with him, everybody here. But it's a bad time.
This is News Watch 6. A death row inmate at Parchment is scheduled to die in the gas chamber in less than 2 weeks. Edward Earl Johnson was convicted of the 1979 shooting death of Walnut Grove Marshal J.T. Crest. Johnson's attorneys and the American Civil Liberties Union say they've got a strategy to save the inmate from execution on the 20th of May. They declined to give details of that plan, but did say there are racial factors to consider in the Johnson case. They say a recent study shows those who kill whites are more likely to be sentenced to death than those who kill black. Johnson is black and the victim was white. News Watch 6 asked several of our viewers if they think Johnson should go to the gas chamber.
What do you think about the case? Do you think Johnson should be executed or not? Well, I'm totally against the death penalty under any circumstances. I don't think that a life for a life accomplishes anything, so I don't think it should be executed at any rate, whether the person is black or white. Do you think Johnson should be executed or not?
I always believe if somebody murdered someone, they should pay for it with their own life.
The conditions here are similar to slavery times. The only thing difference between now and 1860 is the year. The work gains are just that, it's mostly like a make-work situation. Whereas rather than just sitting idle as we do, they give them something to do, cleaning up around here, cutting grass, digging ditches, it's slavery modified into today's world.
Yep.
It's just a big plantation that's been changed by the name. Instead of calling it a plantation, they call it a farm. But there's no difference in it.
1987. What were you doing in 1987, Cindy? I was 16. Oh, the perky years.
What we've got here is the petition for you on, going to the Mississippi Supreme Court. We have to go there first because you have to do that. There's absolutely no chance of actually achieving anything there because they've already made up their minds that they want to see you go on the 20th. But hopefully we'll be out of there in a couple of days so we can go straight into federal court. And that's where something's going to happen. I mean, when you get to read through this, there's some really serious stuff in it, and the ineffectiveness claim would win in any reasonable case. Our problem, of course, is the publicity and the pressure that people are going to feel on all this. And in a fair world, you're going to win, but the world isn't always unfair, so we'll just have to keep our fingers crossed and keep praying.
All right.
The fact that
Fairly
you're a
repetitive
black
one.
kid in Lee County, which has got a bunch of Klan people, and they go around,
Yeah.
they go around shooting.
Is that he was too calm. Anybody as close to being executed as he is should not be nearly as calm about the whole thing as he is. So they're obviously grasping for straws, which is understandable. They're doing their job, but it suggests that they really just haven't got much left to deal with.
Now a convicted killer's last resort. Today, the state Supreme Court denied a request to delay the execution of Edward Earl Johnson. He's scheduled to die next Wednesday. The nation's highest court previously refused to hear Johnson's last direct appeal. His lawyers are asking the justices to reconsider.
Right.
The decision from Washington could come Monday. Johnson is on death row for killing a Walnut Grove town marshal.
So that,
in a way,
I was 16. So you're 6 years older than me. So that would make you 59? Yeah? Yeah, I'm 53. So how old are you, Cassie? A couple of years older than me then, I think, by the sounds of it. Yeah, yeah. And it didn't actually evolve until 1972. There was a landmark case, but the legislation didn't actually change until 76 in Georgia. So, yeah, it really isn't, like, since it evolved into what it is now, hasn't been there that long. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So 16, I was in year 10, so I still had 2 years of high school. I graduated in 89 and then went to university or college, you call it. There's a guy now in Texas. Oh, okay. He might be a good one to follow because I'm talking to I've got a backstage meeting with Steve tomorrow to discuss which way he wants to approach the podcast on Saturday. Does he want to compare it to a current case, or just discuss the books, or have just an open discussion? So start writing your questions now. But yeah, if there's a current death penalty case in Texas now, we might be able to, if he knows anything about it, might be able to use that as an example. Robert Robertson, Texas. There's actually an Aussie in Arizona at the moment on, she's the first one to be given the death penalty. It's been a case since 2017. Lisa Cunningham. But yeah, she's actually over there in Arizona at the moment, awaiting. Okay, get. Oh dear. Didn't eliminate the death for children until after 2000. Oh. I think Australia, I have written it down somewhere. We abolished it. Tanya and I were going over these facts last night. Oh, the one thing we did look up was the next execution set for 2025, and it's a Steve Nelson in Texas. Yeah. I can't remember when there, but I think it was in the 80s. I'm not sure. I'll add that to my to-do list. Let's keep going.
I've been preparing this for 19 years in a career, preparing for it. I think that
pardoned his son too, didn't he?
I understand. I'm beginning to understand, and probably will understand even better after the execution. Why, strangely enough, over the years, at least in this country, a number of wardens who have performed large numbers of executions.
That is psychological abuse. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, absolutely. There you go. How many states in America still? Is it? Oh, I can't remember. I'm gonna have to Google that now.
In the 30s and 40s when they
remember.
were prevalent. Nonetheless, despite the fact they did the jobs, pulled the switches or pushed the buttons many, many times, were nonetheless very strong opponents of capital punishment. They did the jobs and they did it frequently, far more frequently than anybody in my generation of wardens would have to do. But nonetheless, they were opposed to it. And I have a feeling that when this is all over, I don't think I'm going to suddenly make any great changes and become an opponent of capital punishment. But I think that I'm going to be able to better understand.
1985, it was abolished in Australia.
The search for another way.
They're just starting to feel. It's just now people are starting to realize that it's probably going to happen. There's still people that'll, all the way up to the last day, even people that do get executed sometimes don't even believe they're going to be executed till they get in there. But it's starting to build a little bit, people are starting to be a little quieter, the last little comments are being kicked around about it, and sad feelings are going around. Some people, maybe there's a little bit of fear, but it's just a line, and you just got to wait in line until it happens, and you got to watch all this happen, and it's just torture.
But then one thing that has helped me a great deal, I had an old minister tell me one time and reminded me that we're all under the death penalty. We're all dying. None of us has a guarantee of tomorrow. The only difference is these fellows has a date set. They know that such and such a date, I'm going to be placed in the gas chamber and I'm going to die.
As of yesterday, the Attorney General's office was of the opinion that he would not be granted relief by the state Supreme Court. They have also filed a petition for clemency with the governor. It does not appear that the governor will grant relief on that request, although he has to have a hearing on it. His greatest hope at this point in time lies with the Federal District Court in Jackson, Judge Barber, who has handled this case on previous occasions. There's probably at least a 50-50 chance that Judge Barber will grant a stay of execution. However, there is some discussion as to how long the stay will be. It could be 6 months, it could be 2 months, it could be a week, it could be a few days. We're going to proceed on the assumption that even if the execution is stayed for the 20th, that it will not take too terribly long for the stay to be dissolved so that we can continue to be in a state of preparedness for this. I think probably, unless somebody moves very quickly today, and I honestly don't expect that, we're going to come down to the wire on this thing. The chamber has been thoroughly examined by manufacturing reps and by us, and will be examined again by us Sunday and again Tuesday afternoon. So I don't expect any difficulties, but I want you all to be aware. For those of you who have a role in this thing, however indirect it may be, that if there's a malfunction of some kind, if the solution in the cyanide is not mixed properly, the execution will be carried out. It's simply a process of having to clear the chamber and do it again. Obviously, I think everybody hopes that doesn't happen. But I want this staff to be professional. We're going to discuss how we did what we did and what we can do to improve it, because there are going to be other executions here in the next year, year and a half, 2 years. This boy's mother is a part-time law enforcement official. He comes from a relatively good family. They are entitled to some dignity in terms of the way we do our jobs. Now, for those of you who are in the custody ranks in particular, and believe me, I understand. Because I've worn the uniform too, I understand this man killed a police officer. That doesn't change anything. If he killed one of your best friends on the guard force, we'd still have to carry this out in a responsible fashion.
We have to repent, and we have to come to the knowledge of the truth. We have to accept Jesus Christ as our Savior, and I know ever that God is working on you. I see evidence of things taking place in your life, that I know that God's not left you alone, that He's with you.
I really feel it, although, like you said, I still need to be a deeper repentance on my part, and I just have to wait let God work on me with that.
I've seen things in you that I see God dealing, and I see God bringing you to a place of repentance that you don't have anything to worry about, not a thing. Because, it's like I told you, God knows your beginning and He knows your end. He knows Edward Johnson better than me, better than anybody. God knows you, because God created you.
Defense attorneys for convicted murderer Edward Earl Johnson tried again today to postpone the execution of their client, now scheduled for this coming Wednesday. Governor Bill Allain, however, refused to make a decision on granting executive clemency, saying that was premature. As of this time, though, it
All right. I'm just going to swap over here for a second. This is Robert Robertson that you were talking about before. So it looks like he was set for lethal injection in October, and they gave him a reprieve, was it, or something? And then, right, hang on, let me read it. Texas Supreme Court on Friday said the execution of a man convicted of murder in 2002, the death of his 2-year-old daughter, could move forward even as a state house committee seeks to subpoena the man for his testimony and its bipartisan members fight to spare his life. Robert Robertson, 57, was set to be executed in October, but a state house committee using its investigatory powers issued a subpoena for Robertson's testimony, which led the state Supreme Court to temporarily halt the execution so it could consider the request. The decision Friday clears the way for a new execution date to be set by a state court judge. Robertson's conviction relied on allegations that his daughter, Nikki Curtis, died of shaken baby syndrome. I didn't think that actually existed anymore. A diagnosis attorneys argue is wrong. Categorically prioritizing a legislative subpoena over a scheduled execution would become a potent legal tool that could be wielded not just to obtain necessary testimony, but to forestall an execution, the Texas Supreme Court decision said. Robertson's attorney, Gretchen Sween, in a statement asked the state to refrain from setting a new date given the overwhelming new evidence of innocence. The ancillary benefit to Mr. Robinson of staying his execution hopefully gives time for those with power to address a grave wrong to see what is apparent to anyone who gives the medical evidence fair consideration. His daughter Nikki's death was a tragedy, not a crime. Robert is innocent, says Sween, noting that even the lead detective on the case is convinced her client was hastily and wrongly judged as guilty. Sween told the lead with Jake Tapper Friday she had been unable to speak with Robertson about the decision. Now we're back in the position where the local DA could go seek a new execution date essentially in any moment. The High Court ruling suggested that courts had considered new evidence when they had not. Nobody's looked at it. If they don't look at the new evidence and conclude that that justifies a new trial, we're in a terrible predicament. The new evidence includes a collection of comprehensive reports from medical experts showing Nikki died from an undiagnosed pneumonia, both of viral pneumonia that was colonizing her lung tissue and a secondary bacterial pneumonia that was causing the lung cells to die. Robertson says he's innocent. His attorneys and advocates insist the diagnosis that his daughter died from shaken baby syndrome is inaccurate. While child abuse pediatricians remain firm on the validity of the shaken baby syndrome diagnosis, Robertson's attorneys say there is ample evidence his daughter did not die of child abuse. The delay in Robinson's execution was set in motion last month when lawmakers with the Texas Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence voted to subpoena Robertson as they consider the lawfulness of his conviction. So this has been going since 2002. Fuck. Texas law requires a judge to set an execution date at least 90 days in advance, meaning the earliest he could again face execution would be early next year. Wow. They halted his execution just over an hour before his death warrant was set to expire. Oh, can you imagine? Jesus. Ugh. Wow. At least 200 people, including 18 in Texas, have been exonerated since 1973 after being convicted and sentenced to die, according to the Death Penalty Information Center. Wow. Well, there you go. That doesn't surprise me in the slightest. No, they're saying that it was bacterial and viral pneumonia. Yeah, she where is it? The night before, Robertson brought her to the emergency room. She had fallen off a bed and was particularly vulnerable given her illness. Robertson's supporters include Brian Wharton, the former detective who oversaw the investigation into Nikki's death, as well as more than 30 scientists and medical experts who agree with the doctors cited by the inmates' attorneys, a bipartisan group of more than 80 Texas legislators. Wow. In October, the appellate court ordered a new trial for a man sentenced to 35 years in prison for his conviction for injury to a child in a case that also relied on a shaken baby syndrome argument. Wow. Scary shit. Scary shit. Yeah, I don't blame you. I just didn't think that the actual diagnosis of shaken baby syndrome was like to have a new name for it or something like that. I didn't think it was called that anymore. I thought that was an old term. Hannah. Ah, where did you see them? Were they on any particular channel or YouTube? Because that might be something we can aim Saturday on, because yeah, if it's relevant and current, it might be a good one to use as an example. Cool. Yeah, if you could let me know where you watched the hearings, that'd be awesome. If you could, if you find the link, I will. There you go. You now have the power to post links in chat. There you go. Look at that. Oh, look who's got a wrench. All right. WFAA. All right. I'll start looking for that whilst we're watching.
Jeff Baselli was at the state penitentiary at Parchman today and filed the story.
While his attorneys are reportedly employing more radical tactics to save their client, prison officials say that Johnson has all but resigned himself to his fate.
I heard last night on the news that
let's skip ahead.
Surprising me that.
No, don't hold the secret.
Yep. I'm gonna have to schedule a wrench wench just a wrench wench stream. Just a private one.
This is Edward Johnson. Yeah. Oh, hey. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, glad I told me to call back, this time. Yeah. Oh. Okay, I'll just wait. Okay. Well, let's see. The Fifth Circuit denied some of the claim that was on the petition. So now they're going to file it in the Fifth Circuit. They're on the way now. So he'll be up in the next 3 or 4 hours.
Just keep going.
Meanwhile, Edward Earl Johnson sits on death row in Parchman, scheduled to die in the gas chamber at a minute after midnight. Don Cabana, warden of Parchman and acting corrections commissioner, says he's spoken with Johnson every day since the decision to execute him was made.
My conversations with him, I'm impressed with the fact that he's at peace with himself and has accepted the reality of the situation right now.
Cabana says the final stages of preparation at the prison have already begun. For this afternoon, Cabana says an institutional emergency situation will be declared, during which traffic through the prison will be limited as the final hours are counted down. Earlier today, Judge William Barber denied a request to stay the execution. Johnson's lawyers have appealed to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals.
In the name of Jesus Christ, who died for us. Amen.
Salt and pepper out of the kitchen.
We do still have an execution that is proceeding on schedule. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals has affirmed the conviction, I guess, and denied a request for a stay of execution from Edward Earl Johnson. Filings have already taken place with the United States Supreme Court. The Attorney General's office advises me that we may hear from the U.S. Supreme Court within an hour. I think it's fair to say that we do not expect the U.S. Supreme Court to issue any stays in this matter. It will apparently come down to the governor's office and any clemency petitions he may entertain. I can't conjecture about that. My impression from my conversations with the governor and the governor's office the last 2 days is that is not a strong likelihood either. So we are prepared to carry out this execution at 12:01 tomorrow morning or as soon after that time as possible.
Chaplain, do you think Edward Earl Johnson murdered that sheriff 7 years ago?
No, I do not. I've talked with him on several occasions, and he has more than one time told me that he did not do the crime he's here for. He did not assault the ladies that was supposedly assaulted, and I believe him. His attorney says there are several good points that should be looked at, but yet it's so far in the game until nobody will hear them, which doesn't make sense at all to me. In a society that's supposed to be civilized and a caring society that cares for those people that are really down and out or downtrodden, certainly Earl would be at this point, I think.
So you're saying, in your opinion, an innocent man is going to go to the gas chamber tonight?
I believe that. Yes.
Well, this morning we lost in federal district court, not till noon, so that was later than we expected. And to be quite honest, I expected to win there. I really did. We had a hearing last night. Everything went very well, and we had to win. The judge was out to get us, and he really did get us very badly. And after that, I thought things were pretty much all over. Then we went to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, and we went to the judge's chambers there in Jackson. As I went into his office to file the appeal, I looked on the word processor, and he'd already written the denial of the appeal before we'd even done it. However,
You'd already written it.
he'd already written it. It was running out on the printer before we'd even filed the appeal, and he denied us oral argument. However,
Is that constitutional?
Well, I mean, who knows what's constitutional to these people, but it's...
I'm going to pause this a second. I found some more stuff. All right, this is the Death Penalty Information Centre. Where is it? All right, so this is based in Florida. Death row list. Surely these aren't all current. Go back to this is a list of all of the people apparently currently on death row in Florida, but they go right back. Can't be that long, surely. Two 2006. Oh God. 2007. Let's go to the current. Stephen Lorenzo. Joseph Zyler. Michael Hunt. Marcus Fishburne. Patrick McDowell. Wade Wilson. He's the one that he's the trial I was going to start this week. There you go. He is sorry, not Wade Wilson, Wayne Wilson. This was the guy that was he had some court cases this year. I'm sure he did. I remember his face because he pled guilty to it and everything. So that was issued in 27th of August this year. But the offence was in 2019. Let's go back one. Stephen Wolf. Oh, really? Wow. Didn't they raise like over $100,000 to for his defense? Like, wasn't he hailed as some modern day Robin Hood or something? I haven't really had a chance to delve into that. My email, I'll put it in chat. Don't laugh. There you go. What's that one, Cindy? What's that link? I might actually do a bit more research on him and yeah, suggest it to Steve tomorrow to focus maybe on. Okay, thank you. I will copy that. Oh, that's the actual hearing. Oh, all right. Well, I have a suggestion. Why don't we watch that hearing tomorrow as scheduled? You reckon? Do a bit of a deep dive into Robert Robertson. Oh, you're cracky. I was waiting for that. I can't believe how many people there are on here. Like, yeah, I think it might be easier to follow a current trial, and apply all this information to it. I was thinking either Brian Koberger or another current one, but this one might be interesting. There's a lot of information here, actually. Basically, all based in Florida from 1827. The first known execution in Florida was Benjamin Donica, hung for murder. And it continues all the way through. Governor Ron DeSantis signs legislation allowing the death penalty to be sought in sexual battery against a minor under the age of 12. Famous cases: Eileen Wuornos, executed in October 9th, 2002 for the murder of Richard Mallory, but she had also received death sentences for 5 other murders and confessed to a 7th. Though she wasn't tried for it, her case garnered extensive media attention. She was labelled America's first female serial killer. Suffered from severe mental illness, but the state of Florida found her competent to waive her remaining appeals and be executed. It was the inspiration for the Oscar-winning film Monster. Anyone seen that? Florida has had 30 exonerations from death row, more than any other state. You can read about all of Florida's exonerations on the death penalty information. I've got a link there anyway. So this is Florida's death penalty information. Hang on, I'll copy the link if anyone wants to have a look. It's heaps of information. 6 clemencies were granted. Number of innocent people freed. Current death row population, 288 in Florida. Method of execution, choice of injection or electrocution. Right. The governor has the authority to grant clemency on the advice of the Board of Executive Clemency, and that's Ron DeSantis. Upcoming. Stephen Nelson, February the 5th, Texas. February the 13th, Richard Tabler, Texas. David Leonard Wood in March, Texas. Moises Sandoval Mendoza, April, Texas. Wow. Yeah, so everyone who is on the list for 2025, there's 4 in Texas and 6 in Ohio. Oop. Wow. Oh God, they've even got the protocols. Oh. Is that coming up? Oh, isn't that coming up? Okay. So, this is Florida Department of Corrections. When's this date? 10th of March 23. Dear Governor DeSantis, I have carefully reviewed the lethal injection procedures issued by my department. Pursuant to these procedures, I represent the following. As Secretary of the Florida Department of Corrections, I have reviewed the department's execution by lethal injection procedures to ensure proper implementation of the department's statutory duties. Procedure has been reviewed and is compatible with evolving standards of decency that mark the progress of a maturing society, the concepts of the dignity of man, and advances in science, research, pharmacology, and technology. The process will not involve unnecessary lingering or the unnecessary or wanton infliction of pain and suffering. The foremost objective of the lethal injection process is a humane and dignified death. Additional guiding principles of the lethal injection process are that it should not be of long duration and that while the entire process of execution should be transparent, the concerns and emotions of all those involved must be addressed. This is 17 pages long. There's a whole team, an execution team. Wow. That must be is that the 5 people that have to be there? The team warden, the minister of religion, the institutional warden, executioner. Yeah, I think we're going to need another stream to go through all this shit, I think. It's like a rabbit hole. I'll save that. Right. I think, yeah, tomorrow we might go over. So Monday. I'll see how I feel tomorrow. That the hearing. And any other info I can find. Where are we? We're still way behind. I'm still on Total Babe. Diane. You're so funny. It's just to catch you up, Kirsiwan. Every trial we go through, we generally have a there's a Walmart reference, a backdoor reference, and an Uda Hef hottie. They're all established in every trial we try and go through. Check your email. Okay. Good video to play. All right. Ron DeSantis used to oversee torture in. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. December 2024. Let me have a look. This is six days ago. This was streamed on 21st. So it could be the same one. Let me have a look at my emails. I do believe this is a snippet of the same one, I think. Cindy. So we might do a. Hang on. Move you up there. Oop. Where'd you go? Yeah, you go up there. Thank you. And I'm sharing it. Yes. Yeah, this is a 2-minute or 2.5-minute snippet of the long hearing that you sent me, Cindy.
Road to Austin for the hearing. In the motion, the AG's office claimed the committee refused to work with them on making accommodations for Robertson to testify, such as with a video call. Chairman Moody responded to that accusation.
This is the dishonesty that I'm referring to, because these are just facts. These are emails and public record. This is what they filed in Polk County. This is a lie. We have been attempting to try to find an accommodation since October, and they have never responded to anything meaningfully because they don't want to have Robert here.
Paxton requested a hearing on his motion for January the 13th. That would be just before the start of the regular session and 1 day before the committee is to officially dissolve. The request for the tactical delay is the latest in what's become a political turf battle. The committee has been criticized for issuing its original subpoena that blocked Robertson's execution. The action brought about a state Supreme Court ruling that noted state lawmakers do not have the power to grant clemency.
The intent of this committee, certainly my intent, just speaking for me, was never to usurp or overstep the governor's constitutional duties when it comes to carrying out a death sentence, when it comes to granting reprieve or pardon. We didn't ever intend to step on his authority to do so, and don't now.
In 2003, Robert Robertson was convicted of capital murder for the death of his 2-year-old daughter, Nikki. Prosecutors argued that she died due to shaken baby syndrome. Robertson's defense team claims new scientific evidence discredits that diagnosis. The committee wants to know if a state law dealing with what's considered to be junk science in trials was not applied to Robertson's appeals.
And I just have to ask, what do some officials fear? Why do some officials fear Mr. Roberson's testimony so badly? If the case against him is so open and shut as they say, why are they working so hard to flaunt laws passed by our legislature and signed by our governor that should have given this individual a new trial years ago? What is the possible harm in letting him speak here?
Come to me. Okay. Is that an ad?
Your performance as Ellen, who's being terrorized by a vampire, is
The fuck? Alright, I think that's probably that one done. Alright, I reckon, yeah, we go through some of the Florida stuff specific and that hearing, because that's an hour and a half. The one from December. And yeah, we'll freeball it, deep dive whatever we find. Right, we'll just finish off for the last bit of this. Share the screen again. Oh, can't you at my bar, Cindy? What's that mean? How old are you? You don't have to in your 30s, yeah? If I remember correctly. Dr. Goodhair. Yeah, what? He started his own YouTube channel as well and then just dropped off. I don't know. I love that that trial was probably right up there with one of my top trials. Take care of Maya. Absolutely. What does get carded? Black marker. Oh, okay. All right. All right. You'll have to, we'll go through all that tomorrow then. I want to know what getting carded is. What's that? Is that asking for ID? Like, I don't, please explain. Juror testified to his innocence, said she was denied evidence. Are we talking about Robertson? Oh, really? Because that's still going. They haven't settled yet, have they? Oh, fuckers. Okay. All right, all right. I get it now.
Seems very, very bad. Still not without hope. I still just can't give up. But it looks real bad. It looks really bad. Everyone, is with him. Like I feel just, as much a part of him as a person could be. Like I became as close as a brother to him. And they've kept him here 7 years. Killing him daily. Now they're going to finally kill him. Everyone here is dying tonight. A part of them. Like. I can never be the same after this. I can never be the same. Like we're supposed to be vicious and cruel, but this goes beyond anything that anyone could ever do.
I'll be back in a moment.
All right,
bathroom break.
Go to Kenny and see what happens with the governor, right? All right, have him let us know as soon as we can. Bye-bye. 7-2, for Christ's sake.
Yes.
No, yeah, not going. Yeah, hi. Oh yeah, I spoke with him about that. You haven't heard anything from the governor? He denied. Okay. All right. Okay, see you later. Bye-bye. It's the end of that.
It's time, son, to move to the isolation cell, okay? Get the door.
Yes, sir. Take care. All right.
Okay. Oh, chaplain's gonna need to come back through there in a second. We got some staunch friends here. We'll get through this together. Did you eat any of that shrimp they brought you this evening?
Oh, yeah.
You said you've never tried shrimp before, is that right? Huh.
Hallelujah, peace I leave with you. Peace I give unto you. Peace I leave with you. Peace I give unto you. Peace I leave with you. Peace I give unto you. Not as the world gives, give unto you. Peace I leave with you. Are you sleepy?
I'm sleeping a bit. I'm sleeping. I'm just tired. I guess it all, comes in on you. I just comes in on you when you get tired. Strained, you're waiting. Well, call me, come through. Gotta keep everybody else up. I'm not really down, yeah. I'm sleeping.
When we take you inside, they'll have to attach some go around, I forget what you call them, doohickeys that go to the electrocardiograph machine. They may need to remove a little hair to do that. That will happen at about 1:45. And at that point in time, we'll have about 5 minutes before we remove you from the isolation cell, okay? I've got about 11:33. Got about 12 minutes until the medic comes in and about 17 minutes until we remove you from the room, okay?
Edward, I think we're going to, we'd like to leave you with people here, okay? I think it's time for us to go. Obviously, we want to say goodbye to you. Our hearts are with you, and we're still praying for you.
Thank you, Lord.
Take it easy, man. Once again.
Ladies and gentlemen, at 12:06 a.m., Wednesday, May 20th, Edward Earl Johnson was executed in the lethal gas chamber here at the Mississippi State Penitentiary in conformance with the sentence of the Circuit Court of Lee County. I'll be glad to entertain any questions you may have.
Do you have any last statements?
Yes, he did. He indicated his innocence and that he regretted the situation, but that he bore no ill will towards anyone. And he was thankful that the process was coming to a close for himself and his family. And stated that he was not guilty.
How long between the time the crystals hit the tray and the time the monitor showed cardiac arrest?
The time between the time the gas struck his face and the time cardiac arrest was pronounced was approximately 12 minutes. He was unconscious in less than a minute.
If we could, let's hear from the lawyer. He knew.
Everyone's been very calm and collected about this. Well, let me tell you, I'm not calm and I'm not collected. I just came from talking with the family, and I asked you rhetorically what I was meant to say. What I was meant to say, why it happened. I stayed with Edward Johnson. I had a privilege to stay with Edward Johnson for the last hours of his life. And I can say he was a lot more calm than I was. And I can only say this. When the family asked me why, all I could say was, it's a sick world. It's a sick world. Thank you.
big shock to me when I got the death penalty. I was scared.
Over 50 women are currently imprisoned on America's death row.
So many of these cases are.
Nothing. I didn't get a snack, and I didn't miss all this shoe talk. This must be the next one in the series. All right. So, do we want hands up in chat if we want a Saturday morning Robertson's stream, or you want to wait until Monday morning? Let me know. Yeah, I saw that. I was actually sitting here chewing and reading. So he had a complete alibi, and they wouldn't let her testify. All right, let's have a vote. Do you want me to do a Saturday morning stream tomorrow, or wait till Monday? So if it's yes to tomorrow, put a hand in chat, and I'll do it tomorrow. Otherwise, we'll wait till Monday. It's Friday. No, yeah. What time is my meeting with? He hasn't gotten back to me. Oh, Tracy sent me an email. We're back, biatch. We're back. Okay. All right. Well, I will have everything hogged that day. All right. All right. I'll stream it. I'll stream it tomorrow. It's what time is it over there now? Is it 11:30 or 12:30? It's this time next Saturday, the 4th. But I have a meeting at some point tomorrow with Steve, who is the guest speaker. He's just letting me know what time. 10:30. We're in Texas. So hang on, 11:30, 12:30, 1:30, 2:30. That's 5 hours. What's it in Florida? 11:30. Yeah, it's 3:30 in the morning here. Is it 11:30 for you, Tricia? Yeah. All right. So if I schedule it for, say, my throat, midnight again, which will be 8 a.m. Or do you want me to do 1? Make it 9 a.m. I'll work it out. I'll compromise and do a 8:30. All right. Done. I shall do the thumbnail and set the stream up now. I get up every morning. Oh, yeah, I know you do, you poor bugger. All right, I'll do it for I'll set it for the one. Yeah. And hopefully I can get Steve in at 12. We'll sort it. All right. I'm going to bed. Oh, well, let me get this. That was a bad pause. Oh, dear. All right. Oh, hello, Sharon. You always pop in at the last minute when I'm just closing up. I did have a good Christmas and saw my mum. I got back yesterday. It was warm up there, but it was actually warmer when I got home. But yes, it's nice to be home. Lovely to be home and with internet. Don't realise how much I couldn't even read my emails. It was like, all right, my darlings. You are more than welcome. And we shall see you same time, same place, same bad channel tomorrow. Love you all. See you then.
Justice served in an honest fight. True crime tales till the verdict's right. Solving more than just trivial quests, where sentences rule at the defense rests. Justice served in an honest fight. True crime tales till the verdict's right. Solving more than just trivial quests, where sentences rule and the defense rests.